Consuelo, everybody. Okay, let me just say something. If you're leaving me to do these problems and you're going to watch me do these problems, they're not going to help you at all. You have to do them. And then take a look at, how I do it. So if you haven't done these on your own yet, why don't you just turn this thing off and go and do it on your own? They don't take a long time. Okay? So, first of all, notice all of these, none of these are inverse function problems. The inverse function problems come down here. Okay? But since eventually we're going to get to them, let's find the inverse functions of these things. Okay, so for the f equation, for f of -1, okay, I'm going to switch x and y, and then I'm going to solve for y. So we have f to the -1 of x equals, and you can write x minus 5 over 2, that's fine, or you can write 1/2 x minus 5/2. I don't care, or you can write x minus 5 all over 2. I don't care which way you do it, okay? All right, now g of x, I'm not going to get into the inverse of that one. That one's very, very complicated, and I didn't give you a problem with g to the -1 of x. That was intentional because that problem is really, really complicated. Matter of fact, turns out you can't find it, but I don't want to get into the reason why. So let's find the equation for h to the -1 of x. Okay, we're going to switch x and y, and then solve for y. So if you want to write, x over 5, that's fine. I'm just going to write 1/5 x. Same thing. Okay? So those are the equations we're going to use. Okay. So let's find the g of -2. The g of -2 is -2 quantity squared minus 3 times -2. Okay. So that's going to be what? 4 plus 6 is 10. And then we're going to find the f of 10. So we have 2 times 10 plus 5 is 25. Okay. Now let's find the g of the f of -2. So we're going to do the f of -2 first. So it's 2 times -2 plus 5. So that's the g of 1. And now we'll find the g of 1. We have 1 squared minus 3 times 1, which will be -2. Okay, let's find the f of -2 first. Well, we've already found the f of -2. It's 2 times -2 plus 5, which is the h of 1. And then the h of 1 would be 5 times 1, which is 5. These are just all composition problems, okay? Now let's find the f of the g of x. So what's the g of x? The g of x is x squared minus 3x. Okay, now we're going to take that thing and plug it into the f equation. So what's that going to be? Well, it's 2 times the quantity in parentheses plus 5. So we get 2x squared minus 6x plus 5. Fine. Okay, what's the g of x? The g of f of x? Well, let's do the f of x first. So we have 2x plus 5. And now we have the g of that. So we're going to take 2x plus 5 and plug it in for x into the g equation. So we've got 2x plus 5 quantity squared, because I take the thing in parentheses and square it, minus 3 times 2x plus 5. I'm not going to spend a lot of time multiplying this out. You should know how to do it. If you don't, you got to come and see me. But remember, you can't just distribute the square because of the plus sign. So you actually have to take 2x plus 5 and multiply it by 2x plus 5, which will be 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. And then we'll distribute the negative 3 minus 6x minus 15. And then we'll just simplify that. 4x squared plus 14x plus 10. Okay, number 6, g of h of x. So we're going to do the h of x first, and the h of x is 5x. Okay, so we're in the g equation. Wherever we have x, we're going to put 5x. So we have 5x quantity squared minus 3 times 5x. So we get 25x squared. Yes, I can square each one individually. Why? Because there's no plus or minus between the 5 and the x. And then minus 15x. And I don't distribute the negative 3. Why not? Because there's no plus or minus. Remember, you only distribute to terms. Okay, that's it for that one. Okay, so now let's find the f to the negative 1 of x. Oh, I already did that up on top. I didn't realize, I'd forgotten that I was going to ask you to do that. So you can just look up at the top, and we already have f to the negative 1 of x equals, and I'm just copying it from the work I did up here on the top, 1/2 x minus 5/2. Okay. Find the h to the negative 1 of x, right? So it's 1/5 x, and again, I'm just copying that from up on the work I did up on top. Because even if I didn't ask you to do that in problem 7-8, you'd have to do it eventually to solve the other problems. So it's 1/5 x. Okay, so what's the f to the negative 1 of 3? So we're going to take 3 and plug it into the f to the negative 1 equation. Okay, so we have 3/2 minus 5/2, which is negative 2/2, or negative 1. Okay, the h to the negative 1 of 7. We have 1/5 times 7, which would be 7/5. Okay, we're going to take the f of the h to the negative 1 of 4. So we're going to find the h to the negative 1 of 4. So we have 1/5 times 4, which is 4/5. Okay, well, what's the f of 4/5? We have to go back to the f equation. And what's the f equation? 2x plus 5. So we're going to take 2 times x plus 5. So this is going to be 8/5. And to add these, we have to get a common denominator. So we're going to take 8/5 plus 25/5, which is 33/5. Okay, how about the h to f to the negative 1 of 12? So first of all, we're going to do f to the negative 1 of 12. And so we're going to use the f to the negative 1 equation, which we had in number 7. So we have 1/2 times x minus 5/2. So that would be 6 minus 5/2. So that would be, let's go back to the common denominator, 12 minus 5 all over 2. So that's the h of 7/2. Now we're going to go back to the h equation, which we've got back here at the top. It's 5 times x. So we have 5, and x is 7/2. So we have 35/2. Okay? Hopefully these weren't too difficult. Again, if you've been paying attention in the previous paying close attention on the previous videos, these shouldn't have been too hard. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.